Let's begin by arriving. Arriving into this moment, not rushing, not grasping, not needing anything to be different. Just this breath, this body, this moment. Let your awareness settle like mist falling over a still valley. Feel how the mind slowly quiets when we stop chasing thoughts and start resting in presence. And in this presence, we begin to see clearly, not just what is outside, but what is within. In the teachings of Zen, life itself is our teacher, and every relationship is a mirror, not in the poetic sense, but in the most immediate, tangible, emotional truth. What we react to, what we resist, what we get angry at, often has little to do with the person in front of us, and everything to do with what is stirring inside. Arguments, moments of tension, sharp words, or cold silence, these are not interruptions to our practice. They are the practice. When we experience conflict, it's so easy to look outward, to say they made me feel this way, they triggered me, they hurt me. But the first step of awakening is to pause, breathe, and turn inward. What part of me is reacting? What story am I telling myself? What wound is being touched? The argument becomes a doorway, and through it, we glimpse the hidden corners of ourselves. Perhaps the tone of their voice reminds us of a parent's judgment. Perhaps their need for space echoes our fear of abandonment. Perhaps their need for control mirrors our own. The longer we stay present, the more clearly we begin to see. Zen doesn't demand that we be emotionless. It invites us to be honest, to be fully present with what arises, without adding layers of judgment or story. And when we bring this presence into conflict, something begins to soften. The armor of defensiveness, the need to be right, the impulse to blame, it all begins to loosen. We begin to listen more deeply, not only to the words spoken, but to the emotion underneath. We hear the sadness in the anger, the fear behind the accusations, the longing beneath the silence. We begin to realize we are not enemies. We are two human beings trying, in the only ways we know, to feel safe, to feel seen, to feel understood. This realization is not just conceptual. It lands in the body, in the breath. You may notice your shoulders relax. You may speak more slowly. You may hear yourself say, "I don't want to fight. I want to understand." These words don't come from strategy. They come from stillness, from truth, from a heart that is tired of war. In the Zen way, we welcome all of life, even the messy parts, especially the messy parts. Because in those places where we are most triggered, most reactive, most guarded, there is gold, there is awakening, there is the mirror held up gently by life, saying, look here with love." And so we breathe, again and again. We sit in the fire of our discomfort and allow it to burn away illusion. We speak, but from groundedness. We listen, but not only with our ears, we listen with our whole being. Over time, this way of relating becomes our natural rhythm. We no longer run from discomfort. We turn toward it. We no longer need to win. We long to connect. And this changes everything, not only in relationships, but in our entire way of being. We begin to see that even when the other person is closed, reactive, or unconscious, we can remain centered. We can be the mirror of peace. And sometimes that peace wakes something in them too. Not always, not immediately. But often our stillness becomes a refuge for the other. This is not weakness. This is profound strength. The strength to stay with what is. The strength to remain soft in a hard moment. The strength to keep the heart open, even when it wants to close. That is the real work. Not in grand gestures, but in the quiet moments of presence, in the breath taken before we speak, in the silence we hold when we don't know what to say, in the humility of saying, I don't know, but I want to understand. Conflict reveals our attachments. It shows us where we still need approval, where we fear rejection, where we hold unhealed pain. And so, it is sacred. Every argument is a chance to sit with ourselves and ask, what am I clinging to? What am I afraid of? What story am I believing that's causing me to suffer? These questions don't require quick answers. They require honesty, time, space. As we continue this journey, we start to see every relationship as a spiritual path, not because it's perfect, but because it shows us what's real. Zen doesn't give us a script to fix relationships. It gives us a mirror that is both gentle and unwavering. And when we commit to this path, we begin to walk differently through life, with more grace, with more patience, with more compassion, not only for others but for ourselves, because we see this is hard work, this is deep work, and every step we take matters. Every breath of awareness plants a seed. Every moment of stillness waters that seed. Every argument we meet with presence becomes sunlight for the soul. Slowly something new grows, a way of being that is less reactive, more rooted, less about power, more about peace, less about changing the other, more about knowing ourselves. This is the mirror's gift. It never lies. It never shouts. It simply reflects. And in that reflection, we are offered freedom. The freedom to choose differently. The freedom to respond with love. The freedom to stop reenacting the past and begin living from the present. And so, we continue, breathing, watching, learning, letting every moment teach us, letting every conflict transform us, letting every mirror show us the beauty and the truth of who we really are. If this message brought you calm, this space is always here for you. Subscribe, return, and walk this quiet path with us, one breath at a time. Until next time, remember, what you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create.